Thanks, Richard. Our first keynote this morning needs no real introduction, but I should read this out anyway, I think. Costa heads up ABC's Gardening Australia, and he's the beloved garden gnome in Get Grubby TV, and you'll see more about that outside. In fact, he's here for a few days, so there's plenty of photo opportunities. He is shaping Australia's sustainability conversation and connecting the community to fearless change. From a background rooted in design, his passion for systems lead him to explore the big thinking that is happening across the globe and here at home, bringing an everyday approach to living better. A gardener, a wordsmith, a connector, a learner, a teacher, his capacity to inspire and ignite these conversations is unmatched. And you know what? He's a good bloke. He's the sort of guy that loves people and people love him. And I remember asking last year after his keynote, you know, what drives you? And it's people and it's the connection. So there you go. He's a great guy, and that's why he's here again. Please welcome Costa Georgiadis.
Hey, what time? Okay. Couldn't really whisper there because everyone was listening. I just realised. All right, I'll start up here, but I won't be staying here for long. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Uncle Richard, for the yarn, for the stories, for the history. So many simple concepts there that we can feed into our everyday. Thank you, Greg and Connie, for putting this conference on it again, and for so long. Who was over there? Yeah, Jeff Green. Thank you, Jeff. Got you there. And big thanks to Dawn, who I know is you know, will be moving on. And thank you, Dawn, for all the work that you've done behind the scenes for so long. It's a pleasure to be here. I think about these things a lot over a long period of time, and when I was listening to Uncle, I've had the privilege of being out on country a lot lately, from down south in Bega to Alice Springs to Arnhem Land, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But the topic that, or the thing I wanted to, or that I shaped in the title was Innovate, as a lens to redefine our relationship with waste. But once I say the word waste, I've defined something. I've defined waste. Waste is a habit. Waste has become a routine. Waste existed, as Uncle said, but it was managed in a particular way back then. It wasn't packaged, it wasn't plastic wrapped, that's for sure. Waste has a license. And as a group, as a community, we give it a social license. But when you start to dig a little bit beneath the surface, you soon realise that waste is a design problem. Once and for all. That's what it is. And I've been thinking about it a lot. When we shift our relationship with waste, we can start to create systems and approaches that become circular. But I want you to be very careful about allowing circular to become the new eco, allowing circular to become the new bio, allowing circular to become the new sustainability, because we're pretty darn good at just rebadging. You know, there's a lot of things that Greg has brought up for how many years now, and they just go back around, not in a very positively circular way. They come back because we don't deal with it. Innovate. The role of motivation to shift behaviour, to embrace innovation, and the foundation piece that education plays to support and empower people to act. If you don't have motivation, well, you don't get up out of bed. You are all motivated to come here, and I thank you. It's very important. to create this community, and I'm going to talk about that community because I want to talk about language. The language we use defines how far we can reach. It defines our motivation because it limits our innovation. Shifts in waste perception, outlook, and management combined with innovation and motivation and education can shift our perspective to value waste as the resource that it is and always has been long into the future. So the thing I want to put up front is to ask you that over the next 3 days, write down your aha moments. Write down those little points where you think, oh, what if they did that too? What if they added this? Or, oh, I haven't thought about it like that. I want you to write them down and share them with us over at our Get Grubby stall there, right in the confluence of the channel. So the point of that is we want to put them down. We want to mark them down as a statement, a collective conference conscience and intent, a framework to leverage action and collaboration, light bulb moments and threads that connect a new way to project and propel everyone's ideas into action. If we don't write things down, they just come and go. Ooh, ooh, and off they go again. So I thought, rather than say that at the end, I want to say it at the beginning. And every single one of your light bulb moments, every single one of those points where you go, oh, what about? Just because if you write that down, you're helping everyone because they may not have seen that. You can't have seen it. You know what it's like when you're deep in the midst of something. It's hard to see beyond, and you get caught in little vacuums and vortexes. I came across something the other day when I was down on my regular annual schools and community tour down in Bega, and I caught up with a friend and he introduced me to something which has become the piece of this little presentation. I don't know if you've heard of a person called William McDonough. Oh. Is that me? Must have been that curry. It's a long drive last night. He talked about a rubber duck. A little rubber duck. And this all goes back to Rachel Carson's time, where, people were concerned that birds were going to die. They were just going to end. There won't be any more birds. And he said, this little bird comes with a warning. And it says, it comes with chemicals known to cause cancer and birth defects and other reproductive harm. We say that. Yeah, that's knowledge, that's common. I asked this question, what kind of culture would produce a product of this kind, then label it and sell it for children? What the duck? This is going on. And I'm going to get to PFAS. We've got a design problem. I stress that again. We need to review design and incorporate inherent intelligence. Design as the first sign of human intention. That's what it is. That mound, that midden was human intention. Let's put it all there. Let's hold those stories there for others to see. But what is our intention as a species? That's the first question as designers, as guardians, as stewards. But really, what does that mean in a world? It's to do with what do we want? Do we want world peace? Do we want to protect the environment? And then within this, we talk about commerce and business, because that's what's driving it all. And commerce and business, it's not bad. Look at it. It's quick, it's efficient, it's effective, it's creative, and it's honest. Because if it doesn't work, it fails. The business goes under. But what we're lacking is the story beneath it. And this is what I want to start with and leave you with. How do we love all the children of all species for all time? If we put that, and you can replace love with design. How do we design for all the children of all species for all time? How do we care for all the children of all the species for all time? Put that as the intent. Let's mark that as the reason that we're here. This is our end game for a strategy of change. This talks cradle to cradle. And what is behind that? What's a fair deal? Clean air, clean water, clean soil, full diversity, full justice. We've got to have a plan. Because, I sort of feel like as a gathering, and I wrote this one down here. I'm bringing it on a little early, but I'm in charge. If we wanted to define, and I'm going to challenge us as an industry because I think that's the wrong word. We are the diapers of directionless design. We've been granted, or we've decided to take up this challenge to mop up, to wipe the backside of shit design. And, that can be self-motivating. Aren't we good? Well, are we? Are we actually loving all the children of all the species for all time? I tend to think not. And are our actions helping for that, or are we just allowing this design to keep going? And we keep wiping. If we keep wiping, there's no change. Status quo continues. Rinse, repeat, carry on. Oh, but we've got a new technique now. Now we can break it down into this and then turn it into some more shit. Excuse me. I was referring to the shit that we're wiping. It wasn't a swear word, it was just a refuse, waste. The language, this is the language I want to talk about. What language are we talking? How are we presenting it? And that comes down then to competition, thriving together. That's really what competition is about. It's about thriving together. It's not about me wiping you out or wiping you out or dropping my prices down until you can't compete anymore, which is what we see in so many other industries. We'll just wipe them out. We'll just keep the price down there until they go bust, and then up go the prices again, and so on and so forth. So this is this language. But, there's, and William McDonough went on in this talk to talk about there's biological nutrition. Some of you are involved in that side of things. But then there's technical nutrition in closed cycles. And where do we fit in? But the problem is we may fit into this part and that part, but we don't have the plan. And that's why I really like, and that's why I really want to blow this side of it out, that it is cradle to cradle. And that social license needs to be earned, not upheld by us. Convenience, I think, just to add to this framework, if you want to boil it down, convenience is what's got us here. There was nothing convenient about the mob. They didn't drag you across the river in a boat, drinking out of plastic bottles, throwing them all out there until you had to wait. You had to wait until they were ready. There was no convenience in First Nations culture. Zero convenience. They designed with intent about caring for country and caring for generations to come. And you know, we're now at this point where we're doing to the environment, it's almost like, William McDonald mentions it, or someone mentioned it, I don't know where I heard this, but I'll share it with you. It's like a giant toilet that doesn't want to flush. Oh, well, I'll foof around on the edges. We're going to get to the centre. We're going to get to the core. I saw a comment recently that pollution from the plastic industry releases about 4 times as many planet-warming chemicals as the entire airline industry. Even if it was 3 times, if you want to doubt that stat, even if it's 2 times, if you want to doubt that stat. We're in that orbit. We're endorsing that orbit by coming up with solutions for this convenience to keep it convenient. Well, it's freaking inconvenient. And we need to confront that. Circularity is just an action. Circularity is the action to achieve sustainability. Sustainability has just been a nice greenwash word to say, oh, I'm sustainable. But what's the actions? Where are the actions? And where is the core relationship back to a motivation? Language is the glue. You know, we've worked well. We've changed waste into resource. We've gone from cradle to grave to cradle to cradle. Words fill voids, though. And for me, it's always about what is the intent we are stating. So let's talk about FOGO. Who works in FOGO? Well, we all do. But anyway, I won't explain. I'll leave it for you to join those dots. We all work in it, right? And it's got its challenges. I've had people coming up to me from day one, oh, why are you centralising it? That's not going to work. It's got to be local. I've got people blowing up at me now about why did you put all that other stuff into the green bin, because that's polluting it. And we were using all that good, clean material which you'd got people to put in there, and now you filled it up with all this rubbish. They're not happy. As educators, how frustrating was it to suddenly get a new edict and say, oh, we've trained everyone up, and now, oh, guess what? You've got to not put all this stuff in there. But no, I didn't get... I thought that for about a millisecond. And then I thought, hang on a second, happy days. The EPA has stood up and said, where is this stuff coming from? Let's get to the bottom of this. Okay, out. You do not have social license. You can't put that PFAS-filled material into our green bins. Right? Thank you. No social license. But my question to you on this, where's the outrage? Where's the looking after all species for all time? I was fumbling through a food court yesterday, and guess what? People were still being dispensed with their food, hot food, in a cardboard container, with their coffee in a nice eco-looking piece of cardboard that's full of a toxic chemical which the EPA has addressed and said, get that out of our compost. Yeah, but what about my freaking body? What about all those people? Who's eaten something out of a cardboard? Who ate their poke bowl out of a cardboard thing that's got toxic chemicals in it? This is a design problem. This is a shocking design problem. And we're just carrying on. They go, all right, take it out of the FOGO. No, take it out of our freaking world. Take it out. I went to I went to a motel. I was in a hotel in Alice the other day, and I've been going to this place, and it's a well-known hotel. And was I... This is being broadcast. I'll calm down. Gnomes are meant to be Mayo men. We talk about all the positives. Well, this is positive. I'll tell you it is positive. Because I was filthy. I go to this motel, big, well-known motel. I go to make a cup of tea, and someone in all their genius has now put a single-use PFAS bamboo useless teaspoon on the top of the cup. In every hotel room, rinse and repeat. Drag all that chemical all the way out to Alice Springs because someone said, it's more convenient. Well, it's not convenient. And we've got to confront convenience. And if we don't confront convenience, we'll just be rinsing and repeating here year after year. And that's what's frustrating me. I was driving back from Bega yesterday, and I drove from the Heathcote to Sutherland, some kilometres, and what was there? Poor design. A washing machine with some built-in obsolescence plastic gear that's broken and it's sitting there. Office chairs. Who designs office chairs? They need to be accountable. They need to go to a Senate Estimates Committee and say, this is poor design and we are having to deal with your rubbish and try and separate it from the plastics to the metal to the aluminium. And we're allowing convenience. Like, look at those blister packs. Like, people did tablets before blister packs. Oh no, but it's easier and it's safer. Yeah, and who's left to try and separate 7 different materials and do something with it? We are. Hashtag no to wiping up other industries' convenient mess. So we have to, it's fine to deal with the problem. We need to deal with the problem. But we've got to go upstream. We've got to go upstream big time and bring it back to loving all the children of all the species for all time. I'm talking perpetual. And speaking of perpetual, where am I going here? Yeah, so just be outraged about that. Just be outraged. There's not enough outrage. You can go downtown in Coffs and they'll be issuing you PFAS-filled material. Like, off, enough. You filled a void. So yes, that did do the business thing. It said, okay, let's fill a void. Let's make something. And it was made and it was effective and it was positive. Yeah. But it's lies, right? It's lies. It's greenwashing. It's toxic greenwashing. And we shouldn't be left to clean it up. 5 minutes. Oh, that was just intro page. I'm just looking here. Okay, I'm going to really crank it up now. So I want to ask this question. Where do we leverage as a group? I don't believe we're not an industry. We may be a part of an industry, you know, like transport industry or recovery industry. But no, we're bigger than this. We're a community. And I want to change the language of this group. I want to change it. And I want to say, we are a community. A community that is all about collaborating with solutions that go right up the chain. Because so many of you are working in different areas. I can't throw a blanket of industry over this because when we throw industry over it, we're limiting it. We're a community. We're a community who cares. We want to handle this with care. So we need to drive this care back up. And the word industry or the word community, I don't know which one you'd prefer. I would prefer a community. Because a community implies heart and it reflects and shows the care that we have. And then it can drive and thread straight back into love or care for all the children of all the species for all time. All time. I was at a think tank in Yirrkala last week. The First Nations Rangers up there have removed around the Gulf and the Cape 110,000 kilos of plastic waste and 4,000 drift nets in the last 15 to 18 months. Think about that. Think about that as care for all species for all time. You've got mob up there, it's not their waste. And it's coming onto their beaches, and if they don't get it off, it's going to break up into smaller pieces, which science is already showing us. I saw a turtle open with, you know, someone's brilliant single-use design for your bloody flossing technology. Use it once and throw it out, and there it is on a beach in Yirrkala, breaking up into small pieces. But it's the small pieces that are now inside not inside the stomach, inside the cells which we eat. We need to understand that this is bigger than just what we're dealing with. This is going to beaches and to places, remote places, that they did not ask for it, yet they have to fix it. So where's the industry responsibility? Where's the designer's responsibility? Where's the manufacturer's responsibility for that material going up there? If we want to talk cradle to grave, get those designers up there cleaning up the beaches. We have to take that material out. We have to advocate back up the chain. We have to advocate politically, because this is coming from the Great Pacific Gyre. It's coming from our currents from down here in the south. It's coming from up in the north. But there's good people doing good things up there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this to bum you out. I'm saying it to fire you up. There's good people doing good things. But we're part of that community. That waste up there is our problem. Just because we don't see it. Can you imagine if it washed up on Bondi? Oh, would there be fury? There would be massive fury. But this is on remote beaches that you need a four-wheel drive to get to, and you're even struggling to get there, and they're having to get rid of this stuff. I'll finish off with just a couple of little things. How am I going, Greg? How many? 2 minutes? Yeah. 2 minutes, okay. I don't want to take away from our next speaker. The solution to pollution is collaboration. I look at what Kate did with Durko World. She did not want to create a plastic doll that one day would be found inside a dugong. So what did she do? The solution to pollution. I don't want pollution. I want to care for all creatures of all time. She made a doll that comes as a printed tea towel with vegetable ink that gets stitched as a community, a family community, cut out of the tea towel, stuffed with the leftover of the tea towel, some old socks, and there's your doll. And if that ends up in the ocean, it's going to break down properly. This is the design thinking up the chain to that important statement as a community, that we are caring for all time. Aldevilla Primary School, just up the road here. Look at this. This is not their Enviro group sort of actions. This is environmental conscience. Have a read of that. I'll leave it here. That's what I'm talking about when we talk about caring for all species for all time. We need to think outside of the pictures where we're thinking. I was in Bega talking circularity, and they're going ahead and setting up a national centre of circularity. And how good that it's not in Canberra. We talk about regionalisation, put it in places like Bega or Coffs so that regional communities can appreciate and understand. The rinse and repeat convenience. Every time you see convenience, as a community, we've got an opportunity to go in there and say, right, this convenience is our opportunity to make change and go up the river. A friend of mine got involved with the Melbourne Cemeteries Trust. She was a researcher for Gardening Australia. She went into the Melbourne Cemeteries Trust because cemeteries, monumental cemeteries, are spray, mow, blow, repeat, perpetual for life. She went in and said, we have to change that. This is a toxic time bomb. So I'm using this as an example. What did she do? She said, let's mow it, mulch it thick, and plant the native grasses and wildflowers that used to be there. What did that do? It changed it from perpetual to perennial. Hashtag that one, because that's what we need to be doing. Perpetual to perennial. And that's using nature's license of care. And the final thing I'll finish with, we're not a maintenance industry. Maintenance is a tack on. That's like, oh, it's cost. No. Let's change the language of maintenance to care. Because when it's care, then there's heart. And then that care part of any contract or any design will be at the front, not the back end. Story, narrative, language. As a community, let's handle everything we do with care. Thank you.